The music at the rooftop bar faded into the background as Jake leaned in slightly, his fingers brushing against Emily's on the edge of the table. The warm evening breeze ruffled her hair, carrying the faint scent of jasmine and city lights. She laughed softly as she tucked a strand behind her ear, her eyes reflecting the golden glow of string lights hanging above them. The city skyline stretched around them, buildings standing tall, their windows flickering like scattered stars. "You keep looking at me like that," she teased, her lips curling into a playful smile as she sipped her cocktail. The ice clinked softly in the glass. "What's in your mind, Jake?" He hesitated for a second, debating whether to keep things light, to brush it off with a joke like he always did. But tonight felt different. There was something about the way her gaze held his, steady and patient, as if she already knew what he wanted to say. Jake smirked, trying to steady the rapid beat of his heart. "I was just thinking how ridiculously beautiful you are." Emily rolled her eyes, but the slight blush on her cheeks betrayed her. "Smooth." Jake chuckled, shaking his head, but his smile faltered slightly. His fingers tightened just a little around hers, grounding himself in the warmth of her touch. The city sounds, the hum of conversations, distant car horns, the faint beat of a love song playing in the background, blurred into something distant, something unimportant. Right now, it was just them. "I mean it, Em," he said, his voice lower now, more serious. I think I've been falling for you." Her breath caught. The words settled in the space between them, heavy and electric. Emily stared at him, the teasing glint in her eyes fading into something softer, something real. The night air suddenly felt warmer, her pulse suddenly too loud in her ears. She had imagined this moment, had wondered if she was the only one feeling the weight of something unspoken growing between them. She swallowed, her fingers tightening around his. "You know what's funny?" she murmured. "I think I've been waiting for you to say that." Jake's lips parted slightly, as if surprised, but then, relief. It melted through his features, turning his usual confident grin into something more tender, more raw. He leaned in a little more, his free hand reaching up to brush the back of his fingers against her cheek, barely touching, just enough to make her shiver. "And," he whispered. Emily didn't answer, not with words. Instead, she leaned forward, her lips brushing his in the softest, most certain kiss. It was slow, unhurried, the kind of kiss that said everything they hadn't spoken aloud. The moment stretched, perfect and infinite, as the world carried on around them, unaware that something extraordinary had just begun. When they finally pulled away, Jake rested his forehead against hers, his thumb tracing circles over the back of her hand. "So, what now?" he murmured, his lips still hovering close to hers. Emily smiled, her eyes shining. Now we see where this takes us." Jake grinned, his fingers lacing with hers completely. "I like the sound of that." Above them, the city lights continued to shimmer, but nothing shined brighter than the spark that had finally caught fire between them.